Republican Senator Joni Ernst sending a letter to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday. In the letter, it outlined the potential cost cuts that could eliminate more than $1 trillion in federal spending. Among her proposals on the list, she says consolidating federal office space and auctioning off unneeded properties, auditing the IRS, slashing Biden administration infrastructure initiatives, and making changes to U.S. coins. Now, she noted that it costs 3 cents to produce a penny and more than 11 cents to produce a nickel. So we're going to get into all of this because, meantime, investors seem to approve quite strongly, I think, of President-elect Trump's Treasury pick, Scott Bessent. Some people calling it the Bessent bounce. Joining us right now to talk about all of this and so much more, former Trump administration acting White House chief of staff, who also served as the director of the OMB. Mick Mulvaney is here. He is the co-chair of the Acton Strategic Advisors Group. Good morning to you, Mick. We can talk about Scott Bessent in just a moment, but I'd actually love to talk about, since you know where the bodies are buried, you know where the money is or is not. Is $1 trillion on the table? Is that a possibility? Would you get rid of the penny and the nickel? Would you start auctioning and selling off real estate that is owned by the U.S. government to make these numbers work?
Yes to all of the above, except the $1 trillion. Well, of course, I guess it depends on how you measure. Is it $1 trillion a year? There's no chance. Is it $1 trillion over the budget window? Keep in mind, anytime you talk about spending in Washington, you have to realize the language is different. When someone says that a program costs $500 billion, that's usually over a 10-year window. So it's unclear where that $1 trillion is coming from. Listen, yes, get rid of the penny. Yes, get rid of the nickel. But literally, those are pennies and nickels when it comes to the amount of money that the government spends. These are all really, really good ideas. But until you start dealing with the major drivers of the deficit, which is the discretionary budget, the mandatory spending programs, you're not going to get any real change here.
Well, so that's the big question, though. So let's talk about some of that. I mean, we also maybe add to it the defense budget. Could you go from $800 billion to $700 billion and make that work, given that they have not, completed an audit successfully now in a very long time? Is there remarkable amount of waste there, for example? I don't know.
No, you should know, because there is a remarkable amount of waste. But your question is, can you go from 800 to 700? And the answer is no. We weren't able, when we first came to office in 2017, when I wrote the first budget, to even get the rate of growth in the Defense Department to slow. That's considered a cut in Washington, D.C. If you spent $100 last year and you only spend $103 this year, they call that a cut because they expect to spend $105. So this is great. I love it. Look, I'm so excited about it. I can't tell you. I wish that we had this sort of energy in 2017. But Congress was one of our major impediments. When I had my 2017 budget before the president, I had a high-ranking Republican senator tell him, Mr. President, no one's ever lost their job in this town for spending too much money. They have lost their job for not spending enough. So I hope the attitude in Congress has changed. Clearly, Trump is committed to this, and I think that's fantastic. But unless everybody in Washington, D.C. is interested in spending less, it's going to be very, very difficult to do.
What do you make of this tariff proposal that we were just seeing in the last 24 hours? The idea of implementing 25% tariffs against Mexico and Canada as well, 10% more to China to try to stop fentanyl, try to stop illegal immigration. You see that as a negotiating tactic? You see that, I imagine it is a negotiating tactic, but you see that as a successful negotiating tactic? Do you think it would ever be implemented?
Well, it has been in the past. We used threats of tariffs to get the Chinese to buy more soybeans from us back in 2018. There's how I look at it. As I think that when it comes to folks like Mexico, Canada, Europe, the tariffs are mostly looking for leverage, a way to get leverage. Donald Trump is the best I've ever seen at creating leverage where none exists. That doesn't say they won't go in, but I think the motivation behind them is to get leverage. On China, it's a little bit different. In China, I think the idea behind the tariffs is more to actually drive our policy, to sort of compete with them. So I think that you have to take it a case-by-case circumstance, country to country, good by good. But yeah, Donald Trump is going to use tariffs. It's one of the tools available to any president of the United States to try and get their policies enacted, or at least assisted by other countries. So I fully expect this to be front and center of the Trump playbook for the next 4 years.
Speaking of the Defense Department, Mick, and who knows what happens with a lot of these nominees. I don't know what you think of Pete Hegseth. Earlier, we were quoting Senator Ernst, Joni Ernst, would be the best Secretary of Defense probably ever, and she's expressed an interest in that. She knows all about, she served on the Armed Services Committee. Do you think Hegseth makes it? And when you look at her, okay, go ahead. You're making weird-looking faces. I'm not sure what you're ready to say.
Yeah, but in order to get to Ernst, you got to sort of deal with Hegseth, and I do see him making it. I sort of get the feeling, Joe, that if the guy wasn't on television for the last several years and had been sitting at a think tank, I don't think there'd be a lot of complaints about him. He's got a degree from Princeton, from Harvard.
No, I know he has degrees, but he just doesn't have the experience in maybe you're right. He hasn't been a bureaucrat. He hasn't been a bureaucrat, which maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, there's not a lot of folks who have experience running an agency that has a couple million people, or at least I think it's close to 1 million folks. So that's a big organization. There's no question about it. Jody'd be great. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see Trump pulling support for Hegseth unless something comes out that we don't know about Pete yet. Look, I expect one of the nominees to go down, right? I don't think Gates was the sacrificial lamb. I think Gates was an aberration. I think one of these folks is not going to get approved. I get the sense it's going to be Kennedy, just because that hearing is going to be such a circus. I don't know how long the Trump team is going to want to stay with him. But Hegseth fits the model that I think you see coming out right now, which is it's a two-headed sort of operation. You're going to have somebody in the White House dedicated to policy and someone out at the agency dedicated to selling that policy. There's a reason he hired Sean Duffy for DOT, who's good on TV. There's a reason he hired Kristi Noem for DHS, because she's good on TV. And Hegseth is good on TV. One of the biggest complaints Trump had in the first term was that there's not enough people on television helping him sell his agenda. And you're starting to see a new model come out, which is policy inside the White House and then the sales job out in the agencies. And I think Hegseth fits that model very well.
Nick, we got to run, but I got to ask you.
Andrew, you got to be good. We got to be good on TV. I guess we don't have to keep checking our phone. I don't think it's going to happen for us.